ways, my journey to this stage tonight actually began 20 years ago in Nelson, British Columbia. So it's very sweet for me to be back on the West Coast. In the year 2000, a friend of mine and I decided to drive across Canada for the summer to deepen our connection to the land, to the country that we call home. Long story short, we ended up at a free church dinner in Nelson, BC. And when we arrived, we were warmly welcomed, we were handed plates of delicious and nourishing food, and we were very quickly assured that everything was vegan. There were no animal or animal byproducts. Later that evening, when speaking with the minister who organized the dinner, I asked about the decision to serve an entirely vegan meal. And he explained to me that veganism, he believed, is the fullest expression of the Christian ethic of compassion. And for me, it was a radical aha moment. Eating, I realized for the first time, is an ethical act. And with every bite that we take, we have the opportunity to embody, or not, the values by which we seek to live. And I remember thinking to myself, I wonder what my tradition has to say about what and how we eat. I wonder what are Jewish food ethics. And so began a line of questioning, a deep curiosity that has been guiding me in my studies, in my work, and in my exploration of my own Jewish identity ever since. Today, I'm the executive director, I'm the founder of Shoresh, which is a Jewish environmental nonprofit based in Toronto, Ontario. At Shoresh, our mission is to lead, to inspire, ultimately to empower our community to be Shomrei Adama, protectors of the earth. And the way that we do this is through nature-based Jewish programming. Ultimately, what we are seeking to demonstrate through our programs and our activities at Shoresh is that sustainability can be a core element of Jewish identity, and environmental stewardship can be a defining feature of Jewish life. I was asked today to speak about our work in food security, and I feel like I need to offer a little disclaimer, which is that we kind of fell into our food security work by accident. Shoresh began in 2009 with the establishment of the Kavanagh Garden, a half-acre educational garden in Vaughan, which is a suburb of Toronto. In that first year, we took a fallow field, and over the course of the season, we worked hard to turn it into a vibrant and engaging community space. In that first year, we hosted over 1,000 community members, program participants, and volunteers. We hosted school and synagogue field trips and offered programs that explored the intersections between Jewish traditions and the natural world. We gathered together community to celebrate the agricultural dimensions of our Jewish holidays. And in that first year, we grew about 400 pounds of fresh, local, organic food. And we had to figure out for ourselves, what should we do with all of this delicious, amazing, nourishing food that we have now produced? So we decided to donate it all. We thought that that would be a really meaningful way for us to address the challenges of food insecurity, hunger, poverty in our community. And so we did. All 400 pounds we donated, and most of it went to waste. A lot of it went bad in transit. A lot of it went straight into people's garbages because they didn't know what to do with oddly shaped heirloom tomatoes or kohlrabi, which is delicious, but they just didn't know. And we also realized that there was an incredible disconnect between the people growing the food and the people that we were seeking to serve. There was a real missed opportunity for connection. We realized very quickly that this wasn't working. We needed a new model. We needed to figure out how we could engage people, not just at the point of food distribution, but how we could engage them from the beginning at food production. We wanted to create connections between the people growing the food and the people whom we were growing food for. We also hoped that by engaging people in food production, that would help to remove some of the stigma that we were hearing people feeling around accepting food donations, around accepting charity. I want to pause for a second and just say that we have models for thinking about how to engage people in securing food for themselves in Jewish tradition. A good friend of mine, Yakir Minella, who's the director of the Pearlstone Retreat Center in Maryland, he calls the Torah the Jewish Farmer's Almanac, because the Torah is very clear that there are rules that govern our relationship to food, and there are rules that govern our relationship to people through food. Just to give one example, in Sefer Vayikra, in the book of Leviticus, we have the laws of Pe'ah and Leket, two dimensions of the harvest that we are mandated to leave so that people who are vulnerable can come and harvest food for themselves, so that they can be involved in the process of securing the food that is going to go to nourish them and their families. Back to Shoresh. So with all of this in mind, we approached our partners at Jewish Family and Child Services and worked with them to co-create a community garden to serve Jewish Family and Child Services, JFCS's clients. We approached our friend David Pincus, who is 94 years old and still lives in the house in which he was born in downtown Toronto's Kensington Market. And with David's permission, we turned his backyard into an urban farm, which we named Maxie's Garden in memory of David's late brother. For the last 5 years, Shoresh staff meet weekly with JFCS clients, our Maxie's gardeners, and we grow food with and for them, involving them in every step of the process, from seed to harvest. In addition to giving our Maxie's gardeners all of the food that we're able to grow at Maxie's Garden, in addition to teaching them how to grow food for themselves, we're also providing them with other valuable skills and experiences. We run cooking classes and nutrition workshops to better support our Maxie's gardeners when they go home with the literal fruits of their labor. And we also host community feasts throughout the season to celebrate the abundance of what our farm gives us each season. Maxie's Garden, in many ways, is the vision of my partner in this work, Sabrina Malik, who's Shoresh's Director of Community Engagement. And one of the things that Sabrina has done so beautifully, with so much kavanah, so much intention, is that she has designed all of Maxie's Garden's programs and activities, first and foremost around the experience of our participants. Everything that we do at Maxie's Garden is done in collaboration with the very people that we are seeking to serve. One of the things that we hear over and over again is that people come back week after week, not because of the produce, not because of the food. They keep coming back week after week because of the deep connections that they are forming. Connections with the land, with the earth that's providing for them, connections with the other JFCS clients, connections with the Shoresh staff, the JFCS staff, connections with David Pincus, who sits in his lawn chair and supervises the Maxie's gardeners each week. One of our Maxie's gardeners wrote so beautifully to us, "For me personally, it isn't just about the garden and planting experience. It is a place where I feel safe and wanted and appreciated." At Maxie's Garden, we've been working to develop a model that is grounded in reciprocity. It's not a handout. Our Maxie's gardeners are working really hard for the food that they take home every week, and that is empowering. There is so much honor in them being so deeply involved in securing the food that is going to go to support them and their families. It's also a model of deep connection, and we're able to help our Maxie's gardeners become more food secure through the community that we're building in that space. One of the things that we've learned at Shoresh in the last 11 years is that when you grow food for and with people, you have a unique opportunity to engage community in really meaningful Jewish learning and living. In 2014, a number of large family foundations in the States got together, including the Jim Joseph Foundation, the Leichtag Family Foundation, the Schusterman Family Foundation, and they collaborated with Chazon, the largest Jewish environmental organization in North America. And together they conducted a national, but kind of international, because we were sort of included, survey looking at programs that address the intersection between Jewish tradition and outdoor farming, food, and environmental education, what we have come to affectionately know as JOFFE programming. They published a report called Seeds of Opportunity, and one of the things that came through crystal clear in this report is that organizations that were bringing together these two spheres of Jewish learning and the natural world were engaging diverse and vibrant Jewish communities. We were building community through the work that we were seeking to do. The work that we do at Shoresh, the work that the Vancouver Federation is stepping really wholly into, is part of a thriving international movement. From Abundance Farm in Northampton, Massachusetts, to Ikar Farms in Denver, Colorado, to Urban Adama in Berkeley, California, there are dozens of Jewish community organizations that are addressing food insecurity in their communities and addressing the challenge of Jewish disengagement at the same time through their food-based programming. In the year 2019, today, there are people in our community who are hungry. There are people who do not have access to enough food. And not because we have a problem in our part of the world with food production. I want to be abundantly clear that there is more than enough food to feed all those who are in need where we live. In our part of the world, we have a real problem with food distribution. So we need to be expansive in our thinking when addressing food insecurity. We need new models. We need models that stack functions, that allow us to address food insecurity and Jewish disengagement at the same time. We need models that are grounded in reciprocity, that are empowering and inspiring and inviting and welcoming. And we need models that are grounded in connection. Connection to the Jewish traditions that guide us, connections to the natural world that sustains us, and connections to community, to the community members that we are seeking to serve, to the community members that we are seeking to engage, and to the community as a whole that we are seeking to nourish through the work that we do. Thank you very much.